Hello friends, today we're going to talk about neural therapy. What is it? Why would you do it? And specifically, if you have a C-section scar, is it worth trying? If the topic of healing your C-section scar appeals to you, give it a like, give it a subscribe over here. I'm doing a mini series all around different modalities that I'm trying on myself to really heal my C-section wound physically, but also energetically and emotional too, because if you've had an emergency C-section, you know that is some shock trauma stuff going on in your creative center. So how beautiful is it to dive a little bit deeper into our healing journeys? All right, so neural therapy. What is it? Well, I first heard about it a year ago when I went to go see a new naturopath, and on his client intake form, he asked if I had any scars. And I said, yeah, I have a C-section scar, 6, 7 years old, but it's fine. Gives me no problems. And the doctor corrected me and said, well, you don't feel any problems from it now, but obviously when you have a scar, your skin is pulling, your fascia is pulling, it can pull your body out of alignment. And if you go years or decades without really trying to work into this area and reverse some of the scar tissue, it can cause massive pain and problems in decades to come. Now, he told me about neural therapy as a therapy that a practitioner would use to help someone get over these scar blockages in the body. And he actually referenced traditional Chinese medicine and this idea that we have energy lines or meridian lines running all through our body. And when you have a scar, especially a horizontal scar, especially like a C-section scar, a big one, it's disrupting a lot of different energy lines in the body. So we can talk about scars physically, but of course also from this energetic perspective. So with neural therapy, what you do is they take, this is my little selenite wand here, but they take a needle and they're going to inject it into the scar with a local anesthetic, which sounds really weird. Now, I don't really understand how this therapy came to be. I don't understand on a deep level how it works. If you're a science geek, bless you, you can look into it. There's tons of resources. I'm just going with the really simplified layman's version from what I've read and been told. So I think it's procaine or lidocaine that they'll actually inject into the scar and then into the bloodstream, or if you have multiple scars, with the hope of infusing new energy into this area. So my naturopath told me that basically the electrical impulse that this anesthetic gives off is similar to that which the nerves are firing at. So don't ask me how it works, but there are thousands and thousands of success stories with people having scar tissues broken down with secondary things happening in the body clearing up after getting neural therapy and fixing these meridian lines or energy lines. So maybe it's woohoo, maybe it's out there. That's why I didn't do it. This guy told me about it and I'm like, thank you for your advice. Not interested at the moment. A few months later, I'm taking this online salon with a tantric sex coach, and she said, I've had neural therapy so many times, recommended it to hundreds of people, people love it, and if you've had a C-section scar, ding, 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 if you've torn in birth and been stitched up, if you've had circumcision, these scars are affecting your sex life. No, you don't say. So it was one of her top takeaways from this salon where she recommended even other scars on the body are going to be affecting your energetic lines, your meridian systems, let alone where you literally have numbness, right? So, if you're watching this, you probably have a C-section scar, you've lost feeling. It's just what happens, right? So anyway, that was like wake up call number 2. Maybe I should try this. But I was like, no, I'm not doing an injection. I'm not spending that money. And then third time's a charm. I went to my old time naturopath, not the first guy, another old time guy, because I was having reoccurring infection on this side of the body, my left side. So he asked me, do you have any scars on your body? And I'm like, oh my gosh, third time in a year. And I said, yeah, I have on my left-hand side here. I got in a car accident, got stitches. Now with my personal C-section wound on the left-hand side, it got infected and they had to do some, I don't know what they did. Postpartum, I was just like dazed, but the scar tissue on the left-hand side was very bulbous and very hard, and I've worked on it over the years, but it was always that left-hand side where the pain would be. And then through childbirth as well, I did have a stitch on the left-hand side. And he said, yeah, well, you have reoccurring infection, you have reoccurring tooth pain on the left-hand side, and then my thyroid nodule, I don't know if you can see it in camera, but I have a bit of a goiter and a nodule, and it's really pronounced on the left-hand side. And he's like, think about those energy lines. It's all left-hand side, left-hand side. So it might be interesting for you too, my friends, to look at where you might have scars on the body. Is there any patterning there? Is it on one side versus another? You know, what kind of patterns are maybe showing up for, you know, how things come into the body, where you get hurt, what organs and glands, where your scars are, and then looking at, yeah, just any patterns is kind of interesting. But yeah, left. So there's some blockages there, and he recommended neural therapy. Now, what he said is totally woohoo. I love it. But he said when there are parasites, bacteria, little critters, they can sense when there's weakness in the body in meridian lines, and that's where they're going to hang out because it's easier. There's already like the defenses are low in that area. Now, I know that's probably a pretty off field, is that the right kind of word, perspective. He's kind of out there. I love him for it. Long story short, I just wanted to give you some backstory that I kept on hearing about this neurotherapy from multiple perspectives. But I went back to the initial naturopath, the first guy, because he offers the therapy. My other naturopath doesn't. And I got it done 10 days ago. So in Canadian dollars, it was $200 for 2 scar areas, my C-section and then this little guy on the top of my head. It was my birthday present to myself. Why not? Like, come on. It's better than material items. So if you're wondering, does it hurt? Is it uncomfortable? What happens? Basically, I got put in a gown because they had to get access to the belly. They disinfected it, and then it felt like a bee sting. Bzz, 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 bzz. There was a little bit of blood on my abdomen and then bruising for a few days later. Now, it's very common when they're going into scar tissue because your issues are held in your tissues, that emotions could come up. I didn't burst into tears. A lot of people will like burst into tears or have like something come over them relating to perhaps when like the incident happened. I did for a moment feel horror, just that horror of after you've had a C-section, you've been sewn up. I was like shaking uncontrollably on the table. I couldn't even look at my son. I couldn't even hold him. So apparently that was a normal response according to the OBGYN. But yeah, just horror at what was happening in that moment came up as he was injecting my wound with the anesthetic, not wound, scar. So I just, you know, calmly said to myself, I release control. And then everything was fine. It was great. I know this video is about C-section scars and neural therapy, but I do want to share what happened up here because it was just kind of boggled me. This was way more painful. I have a scar about this big on my head, and it was way more painful. And I felt him put the liquid in, and it was like something released, something shifted instantly. I didn't feel that down below. And of course, each person's going to have a very unique response depending on their body and what they're holding on to. But for about 2 days afterwards, I just felt like a little strange, a little out of it, specifically in this zone of my body. So I don't know what did or didn't happen there. I can't even totally tell you, but definitely felt that. Now with my C-section, what this video is about, over the last 9 or 10 days since I've had it done, there's something going on down there. The scar feels a lot less when I use my fingers, just to like feel it and massage it. And every morning and every night, I've been feeling things firing off in this region of my body. So I'm choosing to believe there's some like healing happening, maybe some nerves bzz, 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 coming back to life, some meridian lines, you know, becoming more optimal again. So the naturopath recommended, yeah, do castor oil packs. I have another video I did about castor oil packs on a C-section wound. Use hot cold therapy. So I've been doing hot sauna with putting snow, especially on my belly. or a hot shower with an ice pack afterwards. And he said you can do a neural therapy multiple times on a scar. So I've been feeling sensation in my womb space more than I have in months and months in the last 10 days. So I'm taking that as a really positive sign. My body's focusing on healing where I had the neural therapy injection. So I think I will try it again because, as I said, right now I'm doing a mini series on healing the C-section area of the body, the creative center. That's where I'm focusing my energy. So I wish you the best of luck on your healing journey. Yeah, may all the right modalities come into your life. May we heal.